Trippie Redd has just been slammed with a life sentence for the shocking murder of someone tied to Tekashi 6ix9ine. And the craziest part, for many people watching this story unfold, it wasn't exactly a surprise. The feud between Trippie Redd and 6ix9ine has been boiling for years. And Ariella's death was the tragic spark that made the streets explode with theories. It all started with one woman, Ariella Lancosta Maya Polano, just 29 years old, a Dominican influencer and bartender who had built her own following with more than 500,000 Instagram fans. She wasn't just some random girl working the nightlife scene. She was well-known, connected to artists like Cardi B, and had a quiet but powerful connection to 6ix9ine in himself. But on one morning in Mount Vernon, New York, Ariella's story came to an end in the coldest way possible. Her body was discovered inside a parked car with multiple gunshot wounds. The news was everywhere. Videos and images flooded the internet, sparking chaos across social media. The brutal murder immediately raised one burning question: who wanted her gone? The streets were in shock, from clubs like Icon New York, where she worked, to celebrities who had known her personally. Tributes poured in. Cardi B even called her Dominican pretty. Social media was flooded with grief, confusion, and anger. But along with that grief came questions. Who would want her dead, and why now? That's when whispers started pointing back to one name, Trippie Redd. But to understand why people even thought that, you need to know the history. Because this wasn't just a rap beef, this was a war. Back in 2017, Trippie Redd and 6ix9ine were actually friends. They worked together on tracks like Pole's 1469 and Oh We. They were both young, coming up, and hungry for recognition. At first, it looked like they were unstoppable. But then everything changed when 6ix9ine's past came out. His 2015 case involving a minor made headlines, and Trippie immediately cut ties. In a now-deleted Instagram video, he made it clear, 1400 don't promote people like that. And just like that, what started as friendship became the beginning of one of the ugliest beefs in hip-hop. Things only got darker from there. In November 2017, Trippie was jumped inside a hotel in New York. Word on the street was that 6ix9ine's crew set it up. Trippie went live right after, furious, calling out 6ix9ine and accusing him of jealousy. The beef spilled onto social media, into diss tracks, and onto Instagram live battles that millions tuned in to watch. And then 6ix9ine crossed a line that you don't come back from. He disrespected Trippie's dead friends on live. For anyone from the streets, that's a violation you don't forgive. From that point forward, the feud wasn't about music. It was personal. But what makes this feud different from any other rap beef was how it turned into something far more chilling. Trippie didn't just insult 6ix9ine, he started threatening his family. In one shocking moment, Trippie claimed to have footage of 6ix9ine's mother's apartment. He even revealed the building number on Instagram Live. Then came the threats about hacking 6ix9ine's phone, knowing his every move. This wasn't music, this was surveillance. This was obsession, and it was terrifying. He even bragged about showing up to 6ix9ine's mother's house with guns, blasting music, just to prove a point. For many fans watching, it was hard to tell if this was entertainment or something much darker. Meanwhile, 6ix9ine was making his own dangerous choices. In federal court, he admitted that he had ordered an attack on Trippie. He confessed to using his gang ties with 9 Trey Bloods to put hands on his former friend. That was the same case where 6ix9ine famously flipped on his entire crew, testifying against them and exposing details of their crimes. From robberies to shootings, he laid it all out. He even named other rappers as members. That's when his snitch label was born, and from that moment forward, 6ix9ine's world was never the same. He became both untouchable and a walking target at the exact same time. So by the time August 2025 arrived, everything was set like a powder keg waiting to explode. Trippie had a long history of violence, with arrests for assault and battery. He had already been accused of pistol whipping a woman, getting into brawls with other rappers, and threatening people's families. 6ix9ine, on the other hand, had betrayed the streets by testifying. Both of them had proven they were willing to cross lines that others wouldn't dare. And Ariella, caught in the middle of this storm, ended up paying the ultimate price, because here's where things get complicated. While many people in the streets believed Trippie had something to do with Ariella's murder, his actual life didn't match that picture. Just weeks before the murder, Trippie had been arrested at Miami International Airport. But it wasn't for some violent crime. It was for an invalid driver's license. He was quickly released on a tiny bond of only $150. Hardly the kind of charges that match up with a mastermind orchestrating a high-profile hit. Around the same time, Trippie was also becoming a father. His girlfriend gave birth to their son, and despite the drama, he was posting online like any other proud parent. Hardly the behavior of someone plotting murders from the shadows. So why did fans believe it? Why did the internet spread the story that Trippie had been given a life sentence? The answer lies in the history. Years of threats, attacks, and hatred made it easy for people to connect the dots. When Ariella was killed, the first name that came to mind was Trippie. It didn't matter if there was proof. The beef had been so bitter, so toxic, that everyone assumed it must have been connected. And when whispers of his past threats resurfaced, the picture painted itself. Whether it was true or not didn't even matter. The internet had already made up its mind. The truth is that Ariella's murder is still unsolved. There are rumors she was involved with someone else tied to organized crime. Some claim she was targeted as payback against 6ix9ine. Others say she was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. But what can't be denied is how this tragedy reminded everyone of how dangerous this feud really was. It started as music. It ended in blood. And that's what makes this story so haunting. Because even if Trippie wasn't the one who pulled the strings, his words and actions helped create an environment where violence became expected. The years of insults, threats, and attacks set a tone that made murder feel like an inevitable. Conclusion: whether you believe he's guilty or not, the damage is already done. Ariella is gone. 6ix9ine is once again surrounded by whispers of revenge, and Trippie Redd's name is forever linked to one of the darkest chapters in modern hip-hop. The story didn't end with the headlines. In fact, that was only the beginning. After Ariella's death, the internet became obsessed with uncovering what really happened. Social media detectives, conspiracy theorists, and even former industry insiders started piecing together timelines, screenshots, and private messages. And what they claimed to find only made the scandal darker. The story didn't end with the headlines. In fact, that was only the beginning. After Ariella's death, the internet became obsessed with uncovering what really happened. Social media detectives, conspiracy theorists, and even former industry insiders started piecing together timelines, screenshots, and private messages. And what they claimed to find only made the scandal darker. One viral post showed Ariella standing next to 6ix9ine at a party months before her murder. Nothing intimate, just a casual picture. But to the streets, that was enough. If she was connected to 6ix9ine, she automatically became part of the war. Others dug up posts where she hinted at being stressed, saying things like, "You never know who your real friends are, and watch the ones who smile in your face but plan behind your back." Some fans now believe she knew something was coming, almost like she could feel the storm closing in on her dot. And when people looked at Trippie Redd, everything seemed to fit too neatly. He had already threatened 6ix9ine's family, already been accused of violence, already been tied to gang activity. To the casual fan scrolling TikTok or Instagram, it made sense to assume he was the one behind the murder. The rumor spread so fast that within hours, people were saying he had been sentenced to life in prison. No trial, no evidence, just the court of public opinion handing down its own verdict. But here's where the real scandal comes in. Some insiders claim the rumor wasn't just random. They believe it was deliberately pushed by people close to 6ix9ine himself. Why? Because if the streets believed Trippie was locked away forever, that meant less heat on Tekashi, less suspicion aimed at his circle, less danger for him in the short term. Whether or not that's true, one thing is certain. The internet ate it up. Millions of views, endless reposts, and debates that still rage to this day. Meanwhile, Ariella's personal life was being dissected in brutal fashion. People claimed she had multiple ties to rappers, promoters, and even gang members. Some whispered she had been a secret messenger, carrying information between rival groups. Others believed she was simply a young woman who loved the fast life clubs, music and celebrity attention, and that she ended up caught in the crossfire. Either way, her reputation became a battlefield. Supporters remembered her as kind, vibrant, and hardworking. Haters painted her as reckless and connected to dangerous men. In death, she was forced to live two different legacies at once. But just when people thought they had the answers, new layers of mystery appeared. Some claimed Ariella's murder had nothing to do with gang beef at all. Instead, whispers began spreading about the music industry itself. A few bloggers suggested she had signed NDAs with people tied to record labels and that she may have overheard conversations she wasn't supposed to hear. Could it be that she became too dangerous simply because she knew the wrong secrets? Other fans dug into federal documents, trying to find proof that Ariella's name appeared anywhere in 6ix9ine's court case. While nothing official has ever been confirmed, the theory that she was somehow connected to the feds refuses to die. In hip-hop, even a rumor of cooperating with authorities can paint a target on someone's back. And once that label is attached, safety becomes almost impossible. Meanwhile, the internet machine kept spinning. On TikTok, creators made entire series about Ariella's last days. Some claimed to have screenshots of her private messages, others shared supposed leaked voice notes, where she spoke about being followed. None of it could be verified, but that didn't matter. And when people looked at Trippie Redd, everything seemed to fit too neatly. He had already threatened 6ix9ine's family, already been accused of violence, already been tied to gang activity. To the casual fan scrolling TikTok or Instagram, it made sense to assume he was the one behind the murder. The rumor spread so fast that within hours, people were saying he had been sentenced to life in prison. No trial, no evidence, just the court of public opinion handing down its own verdict. But here's where the real scandal comes in. Some insiders claim the rumor wasn't just random. They believe it was deliberately pushed by people close to 6ix9ine himself. Why? Because if the streets believed Trippie was locked away forever, that meant less heat on Tekashi, less suspicion aimed at his circle, less danger for him in the short term. Whether or not that's true, one thing is certain: the internet ate it up. Millions of views, endless reposts, and debates that still rage to this day. Meanwhile, Ariella's personal life was being dissected in brutal fashion. People claimed she had multiple ties to rappers, promoters, and even gang members. Some whispered she had been a secret messenger, carrying information between rival groups. Others believed she was simply a young woman who loved the fast life clubs, music and celebrity attention, and that she ended up caught in the crossfire. Either way, her reputation became a battlefield. Supporters remembered her as kind, vibrant, and hardworking. Haters painted her as reckless and connected to dangerous men. In death, she was forced to live two different legacies at once. But let's not forget 6ix9ine's role in all of this. He wasn't just an innocent bystander. His testimony in federal court years earlier had destroyed lives. Entire crews were sent to prison because of him. Families broken apart, and in the streets, snitches don't just get forgiven. Enemies wait. Time passes. Revenge simmers until the moment is right. Some believe Ariella was targeted not because of who she was, but because of who she stood next to, that her life was taken as a message. A warning. A reminder that 6ix9ine's past will always come back to haunt him. And what about Trippie Redd himself? The irony is that while rumors claimed he was locked away for life, the truth showed a completely different picture. He was posting on social media, promoting his music, celebrating the birth of his child. He was free, but the internet didn't care about facts. The story that Trippie was serving life for Ariella's murder was too juicy, too scandalous to ignore. It spread like wildfire, becoming one of the most convincing pieces of fake news in hip-hop history. Even now, fans argue about it daily. Some still believe he's in prison, despite him going live on Instagram. That's how powerful the rumor became. And here's the deeper layer most people overlook. These scandals aren't accidents, they fuel the industry. Every time drama like this explodes, views skyrocket, streams rise, and both artists benefit in strange ways. Trippie may have been painted as a villain, but his name was everywhere. 6ix9ine may have looked like a target, but his music started trending again. Even Ariella, tragically, gained more fame in death than she ever had in life. It's a vicious cycle, but it's one the industry thrives on. Scandal equals profit. So ask yourself this: who really won here? Was it the fans who got another piece of messy hip-hop history to debate? Was it the industry execs cashing in on boosted streams? Or was it the rappers themselves, who once again found themselves at the center of attention? The only person who truly lost was Ariella, and that's the saddest scandal of all. And this brings us to the question that still keeps fans awake. If Trippie wasn't responsible, who was? Some point fingers at rival gangs, still furious with 6ix9ine's betrayal. Others believe Ariella was silenced because she knew too much. There are even darker theories suggesting the hit came from within, the industry itself, a calculated move to create another news cycle and keep certain names relevant. These may sound extreme, but in hip-hop, stranger things have happened. He streets don't forget. Every move 6ix9ine makes, every person he associates with, becomes potential collateral. Ariella may not be the last. And as for Trippie Redd, his reputation will forever carry the stain of this rumor, whether he was involved or not. That's the twisted power of scandal. It doesn't need truth, it just needs belief. And once the internet believes, the damage is permanent. What's clear is that the beef between Trippie and 6ix9ine isn't just music beef anymore. It hasn't been for years. This is war. A cold, bitter war where family, friends, and even innocent bystanders can get dragged into the fire. And if history has taught us anything, it's that wars like this don't end clean. They end in blood, betrayal, and destruction. The question isn't if there will be another tragedy. The question is, when the content was shocking, the views skyrocketed, and the myth around her death grew larger. On Reddit, fans created threads connecting every tiny detail: who liked whose posts, who unfollowed who, even what lyrics in Trippie's and 6ix9ine's songs might secretly reference Ariella. The lines between reality and fantasy blurred until nobody knew what to believe anymore. And then came the strangest twist of all. Some people began asking if Ariella was even dead. Wild theories suggested she had faked her death, escaping the chaos of her lifestyle. They pointed to supposed sightings in Miami, in Los Angeles, even in Mexico. Grainy photos, blurred screenshots, mysterious accounts posting selfies that resembled her. All of it became fuel for the conspiracy fire. Most likely, these were nothing more than coincidences. But to the internet, every coincidence feels like evidence, and the more mysterious the story, the more viral it becomes. For Trippie Redd, the scandal became both a curse and a strange kind of blessing. On one hand, he had to constantly defend himself against accusations that he had nothing to do with. On the other, his name dominated every headline. His music streams surged, his social media engagement exploded, and suddenly, he was back in the spotlight, stronger than ever. It's a twisted truth of the industry. Sometimes the worst scandals create the biggest opportunities. 6ix9ine, on the other hand, embraced the attention in his usual way. He trolled, he laughed, he exaggerated, and he fed the narrative just enough to keep his name trending. For him, scandal is oxygen. Without it, his career suffocates. With it, he thrives. And Ariella's tragedy gave him yet another chance to dominate the conversation. To some, this is proof of his coldness. To others, it's just business as usual. But let's take a step back. What does this all mean for the culture of hip-hop? For years, rap has walked the line between entertainment and reality. Lyrics blur into life. Street beefs become chart battles, and chart battles become street beefs again. The cycle never ends. Ariella's case is another reminder that behind every viral moment, behind every trending story, there are real people, real lives destroyed, real families left with unanswered questions. And yet, for the masses, it becomes nothing more than content. Something to react to, something to debate, something to meme. That's the real scandal. The way the world consumes pain like entertainment, scrolling past tragedies while demanding the next juicy detail. In that sense, Ariella's death isn't just a tragedy for her and her family. It's a reflection of all of us, of how far we'll go for drama, how little truth matters when the story is entertaining enough. And as the years pass, one question will continue to echo: what really happened? Was Ariella simply in the wrong place at the wrong time? Was she a casualty of a gang war bigger than herself? Was she targeted because of industry secrets, or silenced for what she knew? Or was it all just chaos, random, brutal, and senseless? The answers may never come. But the speculation will never stop, and that's why this scandal will live forever. Now, if you believe stories like this need to be told, make sure you're part of the Scandal News community. Hit that like button if you made it this far. Drop your theories in the comments, and subscribe so you never miss the next jaw-dropping investigation. Share this video with your friends so the truth spreads further. Because in a world where rumors move faster than facts, the only way to fight the lies is to keep asking questions.